Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing? Yeah, yesterday our friend, who's our master of ceremonies, was asking if we were happy to be here or if we are here to be happy. I wanted to say I'm super happy to be here. I love Kenya, I love Africa, and I would like to thank Brother Jonas and our friends at UNO Social Business Center at Tangaza University for having me. And can we appreciate all the organizers, photographers, technicians for putting together this event. I run a company called YY Ventures. We are in social business incubation and investment. I'm also one of the trustees at Grameen Trust and 30 Trust, which are created by Nobel Peace Laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. I would also like to thank Tangaza University and all our friends in Africa who appreciates and promotes the concept of social business and who works hard to change the world by building one social business at a time. When I was having a conversation with Brother Jonas in terms of the content of this speech, he asked me to share this story of my life. And I am now celebrating 10 years of journey in social business. And I would like to share some of my learnings from failures and fair share of successes with all of you. Some of you may relate, and mostly I'm here to really learn from all of you. The society where I grew up in Bangladesh, it did not always welcome unconventional ambitions. During my early 20s, I had to quit, say no to all the dreams and ambitions. Those were created or designed for me by my parents, by my society, and by my village. And when I was 22 years old, just about to finish my undergrad studies and ready to offer myself to the world around me, I met Professor Muhammad Yunus and I heard him speak at the annual Social Business Day conference in Dhaka. And honestly, before that event, I was clueless in terms of what to do. My ambition from my family side was that you need to become a professor. And I love teaching as a profession. I've been a teacher at universities, and they wanted me to become a professor because then the family would have respect in the society. Nobody really asked me what I wanted to do in my life. So it was always really imposed on me. But during that event, Professor Yunus said that your generation of young people is the most powerful in the history of mankind because of the technology in your hands. But if you do not know your purpose and you do not utilize this power of technology, your life may go to waste. When I returned home from that conference, I felt so powerful. I immediately started to believe in my ambitions. I started to think, what can I do? Within a month, I had launched my first social business. That social business not only gave me purpose for my life, but also gave me immense joy and the opportunity to build networks and connect with like-minded people from around the world, just like the theme of this year's Akose. My failed attempt in building an art agency, an education social business, and a creative design studio did not really stop me. In February 2016, I launched the YY Goshti Incubation Program with support of my team of volunteers to inspire and create a new generation of social business entrepreneurs in my country. After 3 successful years, this initiative was established as YY Ventures in partnership with Professor Yunus and the Yunus Center, with a renewed focus to not just incubate, but also invest in early stage businesses. Today, as the custodian of YY Ventures, I'm happy to report to all of you that we have supported now 90 plus social businesses who have created around 2,000 jobs, and they're impacting around 1,000 lives. And when I say 1,000 lives, it means people have access to clean water, people have access to economic opportunities, or people are able to send their kids to school. In the past 10 years, I was able to build 2 successful social business and failed a few times too, traveled around the world and managed social business support programs, not just in my country, but also in the whole East Africa region, Central African Republic, Philippines, Thailand, and Germany. And I think I have learned hundreds of lessons, big and small, over the years, but I want to share my top 7 with you. And I am here today and also tomorrow, and I would love to have your input, learn more about you and your story, and see how we can shape, or how you can rather shape me, design the next 10 years of my journey in social business. So my first lesson is around co-founder, and I think your co-founder needs not to be your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, or your wife. I have learned it the hard way. So the first social business that I created this with my childhood best friend. While starting a social business, in fact, any kinds of organization or business, it's really necessary to have a co-founder. But co-founders really need to have complementary skills. With starry-eyed enthusiasm, when I started my business with my best friend, we dreamed of changing the world by supporting new entrepreneurs. The beginning of our journey was really exciting as we traveled throughout Bangladesh in all the regions and tried to connect with like-minded people. But just within the first year, I think it was around 10th or the 11th month, the reality of our partnership really hit us hard. We did not know who was the boss. Of course, someone was the CEO, but we would always argue. We were struggling to decide on different things. And now I know we had similar kind of skill sets. We did not complement each other. So the strains on our business were mirrored also in our personal relationships. Slowly we started to disagree, and the business failed, and I've also lost my best friend for life. So if you are building a social business, if you are planning to start one, I encourage you to start with a co-founder, but decide who's the boss and who's really in charge, because at the end of the day, you need a CEO, and CEOs need to make real hard decisions. Lesson number 2 is the skill of salesmanship. When I run all these programs, every time young entrepreneurs would say, oh, we do not have enough capital in Bangladesh. There is not enough investments coming to Kenya. I tell all of them, your investors should be your customers, not a venture capital fund, not a private equity fund, not a bank. You should receive money from them when you do not need it, because this is when you get to be in charge in the table of negotiation. Apologies to all my friends from the banking and financial industry. A business really can have the nicest idea, and a lot of the cases, entrepreneurs do not want to share their ideas because they think if I share my idea, somebody else is going to steal it. But I truly think it's really on the salesmanship of the entrepreneur. So I would like to share a story. In 2017, it was the second year of my third business, which is now considered as a successful company. We were a team of 4. I was struggling to understand how I'm going to make sure that everyone is paid next month. This is the time somebody from one of the largest event agencies reached out to us. They wanted to launch a really large-scale innovation programs, and I did my research in terms of who could be bidding for this, and our company was the smallest one. But luckily, we managed to be in the top 5, and I was invited to be in the boardroom with the officials and decision makers who were going to make it. So, and I was also able to hear how other organizations were pitching for it, right? Everyone was really saying how great companies they are building, how skilled they are, what kind of Ivy League schools they have been to. But my strategy was really different, and this is the whole purpose of my life. I always ask myself, how can I be of help to somebody? Luckily, we were able to get this contract, and our young company was not just surviving, we were thriving, we were sailing towards the ocean, the journey of creating a world of 3 zeros, of zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. Lesson number 3 is about fundraising. This is where I have learned the best way to really get money is from your customers. So in 2019, I had an opportunity to launch a new business of co-working plus cafe plus a community in Dhaka, and co-working industry was in its infancy, but this was an industry that could already complement what we were trying to do. I needed to raise at least $500,000 to start the company, and I could go to venture capital funds, to social business funds, or high net worth individuals. And trust me, I had all the connections, and people were willing to put in their money. But I said no. I reached out to the 30+ entrepreneurs that we supported. I said, okay, on Tuesday evenings, you guys are welcome to my office. You have free dumplings, and we can have these community gatherings, and we can have a little conversations on what we can do. And in my mind, the whole intent was to ask them if I was able to create a world-class co-working space for them, would they be willing to come and work from there? And then I realized from their feedback, the space need not be just for entrepreneurs. This can also be for creative minds, for musicians, for artists, for coffee lovers, and people who also appreciated meditation. So in 2020, we started Impact Hub Dhaka with zero capital, and all the money that we had to put in came in as advance payments from our customers. 15+ companies had signed up. And also happy to report to you that now Impact Hub Dhaka is a successful social business. We are cash positive, and now I'm raising capital from social business funds to expand the business, because now I am in charge of the negotiation. I have a proven case to tell them how we were able to build it. Lesson number 4 is about failure, and I encourage everybody to accept failure. When I was 16-year-old, I lived with my uncle. He is a professor. Every morning he reminded me how important it was for me to have the highest CGPA at my class. But I was a real bad student. I loved to play cricket, and I was always in the outskirts of the stadiums trying to find a moment with the national cricketers. And when the results came in at standard 9, I had failed in 9 out of 11 subjects. I was denied promotion. They called my uncle and my aunt. I was the shame in the family. But my best friend, he told me, Shazeeb, failure is the pillar of success. If you can do it in the cricket field, you may also do it in the classroom, right? So it was no big motivational speakers or somebody. It was my best friend who said, yes, it's okay to fail. And then I studied, of course, also played cricket. I didn't quit on it, and in 2 years I had the highest CGPA, and I never had stopped. I had the record-breaking scores in my board exams, also in my university. I was truly in charge of my life because I could say it's okay to fail. Now that I had failed, I knew what shame was. I knew what sadness for the family was, and I knew what I could do to correct myself. And I even today try to have this mindset in all kinds of my businesses. And Brother Jonas, you know Professor Yunus. When I work with this gentleman, he always gives me really nice challenges. And every time he says, okay, can we try out this kind of project? Can we try out this kind of business? I do not honestly mind to go to him and say, Professor Yunus, I have failed. I'll give you another example. In 2017, with Grameen Telecom Trust, one of the companies that Professor Yunus created, we started a new social business to give access to clean water in Mymensingh. And we did our research And we wanted to build the business in a neighborhood where there will not be any flood. We did our research in 9 neighborhoods, and we started the company in the neighborhood where there was no flood in 12 years. We launched the company, all the big media wrote about us. I am like, yes, this is one more social business, one more problem to solve. And then I was traveling with Professor Yunus to Paris to attend an event with Danone communities. I got a call from my office that 33% of my country was flooded and whole project of our clean water company was gone. I went back to my investors, but I was bold. I said, this is the situation, I've lost all your money. And they did not tell me anything. They appreciated it, that I was honest. They said, okay, what can we do if we have to restart our project? So I would really like to encourage to all my friends who are in entrepreneurship, it's okay to fail. If you have received funding to do a super nice project, if you are not able to deliver, it's okay. You can always reach out, be honest and authentic. And I think all kinds of investors and donors and supporters, like entrepreneurs who are honest and authentic. Lesson number 5 is of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I encourage all of you to nurture it, right? Building a team or a company or a culture is really about how we build a garden. If you like tulips, if you like lilies, if you like roses, of course, you can create a garden of just lilies or tulips of roses. But I encourage you to nurture a garden of all kinds of plants and flowers because they are all different. If you look at your team, all of these people will not be having the right kind of mindset. If you're an entrepreneur, you think they will make sure that they reach your ambition or your vision. This is never going to happen. So give them the ideas, the space, the floor so that they can discuss. And you have to be the person to nurture it. Lesson number 7 is around sustainability. I encourage you to adopt and inspire. Honestly, sustainability is expensive. And if we start to do those little practices in our offices, we invite and encourage our colleagues to take this conversation in the dinner table. Ask yourself and your friends every time you are in a dinner table, where is this food coming from? And once you are done with your nice dinner, where is the waste going? Lesson number 7 is of travel. And I encourage all of you to have new perspectives. There are a few things that I've learned by traveling. Tomorrow evening, I'll go back to Dhaka. I'm excited to see my parents and get dinner with my mother. My flight is around 10:30 p.m. I am excited to go back to my country, but am I sure that the flight will take off? Am I sure that I will reach my destination on time? Do I know if I'm going to like their food? Do I know what kind of conversation I'm going to have with a random person whom I'm going to meet? So if you can consider your life with travel, you'll learn to live with uncertainty and you'll learn to appreciate the journey. And as I want to close my speech, I would like to give you a story of last year. In this very hall, with our friends here, we organized the Social Business Forum. It was a lot of hard work and I had 2 days of leave. So I said, okay, let us go to Masai Mara. And I went there with two of my colleagues. As we were to enter the Masai Mara National Reserve, our driver chimped in with a spirited, here we go. And we all took out our phones like we were all wildlife photographers. We started taking pictures. God knows how many creatures or animals we have seen. I have never seen something which was that green. We spent 2 days there and we were seeing all kinds of creatures and can you believe, even a lioness. But this is the time when I was caught off guard. I was crying. My colleague Sadia said, hey, why are you crying? I didn't realize that I was crying. I was crying because I was present in this moment, in this art, and how beautiful this is. And this is the time when I reminded myself, this is my home, and if I do not take care of this, who will? So if Amazonia is burning, you cannot party in Nairobi. If the world is your planet, you have to take care of Amazonia. You have to take care of the Sundarbans. You have to take care of your West, and you have to take care of your students, your education, and your culture. And I encourage all of you to to look at the 3-0 Club initiative, where we encourage young people between the age of 12 to 35 to become 3-0 persons. To change the world, you do not have to create the next big social business. You can start by becoming a 3-0 person by taking really small action, like planting a tree. Thank you so much.